being a physical media collector is different for everybody. We all have our own story. We all have our own different journey. Now, for me personally, I'm not one that just randomly decided to collect movies. I wasn't one that said, you know what, I want to buy this movie and then, ooh, I like having it and I'm going to buy more. This was something that was already kind of instilled in my household very early on. My father was a vinyl collector, so his love for music was very apparent. He had so many records and he loved movies, but he loved watching movies like off of Cinemax, HBO, or whatever it was, and he would record them. He wouldn't buy the actual movies. Like he would just record two or three of them and put them on one VHS, write up what it is on it. And then if he ever was done with that movie, he would record over it whatever the new one was that he wanted to see. So for him, it was always vinyl. But for me, it was movies. And in 1990, where this story first starts, if you will, is when I got my very own VHS, the first official VHS that wasn't some recording off of HBO or Cinemax. This was something that was gifted to me. And I didn't know it then, but this was the start of my physical media journey. So this VHS tape has been with me for the last 34 years, and it surprisingly is in great shape for it being, an international traveler. The movie is called Honey, I Shrunk the Kids on VHS. And of course, parents would write your name and stuff on the front there. It's in great shape. It's a little discolored. It's supposed to be white. It's more of an off-white now. It's more of a cream color, if you will. But the tape is in immaculate shape. And like I said, this is the VHS that started it all. Now I have a setup in my house. We call it the retro station, and that's where we have, our old school TV, VCR, and then I have my Nintendo, my Super Nintendo, my Sega Genesis is there. My original Xbox is connected there as well. And that's where my daughters get to basically play with all of my old stuff. And that's where they get to watch these movies. My daughter, when she was 4 years old, I showed her the very same VHS that I saw when I was 4 years old. Such a surreal experience as a father to see your kid consuming the same exact thing that you were consuming in the same format for that matter. It was such a cool experience. And my daughter, she really enjoyed the movie, but her reaction was much different than mine. Like this was a movie that I would rewatch constantly. My daughter has only seen it once. She's never asked to rewatch it again. She's more of the animated classics, and I'm never going to force her to like my stuff. But yeah, this is the movie that started my journey into physical media, into collecting. And at a very early age, I was always taught to take care of my things. Obviously, we didn't come from money. So if this broke, that was it. I wasn't going to get a replacement. It wasn't something that was easily accessible. It's not like there's a store in the middle of, the rainforest in Costa Rica where you can just go and buy Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And it's not the case. And you made sure to take care of your stuff. As I said earlier, everybody's physical media journey starts different. And I think that being in a household where my dad already owned vinyl and he was always very protective of his vinyl, he never let me touch his records. It was my mom who would show me how to play them when he was, not at home, and we would never tell him this, but she would show me how to play them so that if I did by any chance want to grab something on my own, it wasn't to destroy it. It wasn't, because I wanted to just mess around with it. I knew that I had to be careful with it. And she did it because she's like, well, it's silly to not teach you how to use it because if you don't understand it, you can't respect it. And yeah, it made total sense. So I did understand it. I did respect it. And in doing so, I learned to treat my things the same exact way. I know the value that they hold for me. And I understood that if something happened to this, I wasn't getting another one. So I made sure to take care of it. And then by the time I got my next movie, my next official release, I took care of that. And then so on and so on and so on. I now do the same thing with my daughters. I don't go the route that my dad did with me. I made sure to break that cycle off very quick. If anything, it's the opposite. I actually encourage my daughters I encourage both my daughters to touch things but to put them back and to be gentle and to take care of it. So I'm not concerned that they're going to do something to my movies. They can come downstairs. They can go into any one of the rooms down here and see movies and see displays all over the place. I've only had two instances out of the 6 years of having children. That sounds like I have so many kids, but I only have two girls. Out of those 6 years of having my two girls, I've only had two instances where something happened to my movies. And it wasn't even the actual discs or anything like that. This was with my 3 year old, who at the time, when she was 2, she was on this weird kick of like enjoying eating cardboard. Don't ask me why, but basically, she got a hold of the Fablemans one time when we were watching it, and she went to town on the slipcover and chewed like a good portion of the top off. And then she did the same thing with the movie It Comes at Night. She saw the slipcover and the same thing. She decided to chew it. Those were 2 times that happened when she was 2 years old. So I cannot fault my 2 year old for that. She's now 3. She understands that these movies, she needs to be gentle with, just like she goes and sees like my Funko Pops, or I have some, some figures from like NECA that are chilling there being displayed. I even have some stuff from like Iron Studios, like big statues that she doesn't touch. They don't put their hands on. But it all comes from, back to my childhood of like pr- learning to take care of our things. And that's essentially what I teach them. And having that mindset is what has allowed me to build my collection and treat it the way I've treated it for so long. I have been collecting for 34 years, and I have some stuff that has been with me for a long time. Things that, I cherish that are actually from my childhood, and my daughters get to experience that because of how I took care of my stuff. So who knows? Maybe the way I am with them and how they see it, they're growing up in a household where collecting can be seen as kind of cool. So I'm curious to see how that impacts their life, if it does at all. Maybe they won't care about that sort of thing, or maybe they will. But either way, it's just cool to see that, journey kind of unfold. And it's cool to look back as to where it all started. That's basically the gist of this video. I just wanted to revisit my very first movie that started my physical media journey. So there you have it, guys. The first movie in my collection, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the one that started it all. If you guys enjoyed this style of video and you want me to do others like it, please let me know in the comments. I'd be more than happy to do so. Also, let me know in the comments if you guys remember the first movie in your collection. I'm genuinely curious to hear your story if you have one about it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel for all things physical media. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, happy hunting. I'll see you on the next one.